She can't use that money anymore. My daughter-in-law laughed at the table. The next morning, I left all $13.20 to her brother's wife, the only one who ever checked on me. It was raining the night I realized my life had an expiration date, not written by God, but by my own blood. The wind pushed softly against the windows, the kind of rain that doesn't pour but lingers, like it knows something you don't. I was lying in my room, lights off, blanket up to my chin, pretending to be asleep. At my age, stillness is your only weapon, and that night it gave me everything. They were in the kitchen, my son Thomas and his wife Clarissa. I heard the fridge door open, glasses clinking. Then came the words. Simple, soft, fatal. She can't use that money anymore. Clarissa's voice, calm, confident, cruel. I held my breath. My fingers curled around the edge of the blanket, heart thudding against my ribs like a trapped bird. Thomas didn't respond immediately. Then his voice low and hesitant. Are you sure about this? Clarissa clicked her tongue. Thomas, her heart's failing, the cancer's back. She barely eats. She sleeps 16 hours a day. What exactly is she using that retirement account for? Her grave? A pause. Then she added, almost as a joke, if she dies at home, we cremate fast. No autopsy. Clean. My mouth went dry. The woman I once called daughter-in-law, who I fed, defended, and housed, was planning my death like a spreadsheet. No tears, no guilt, just logistics. The policy is in my name, she continued. $750,000 tax-free. We just need her to sign the hospice waiver. Once she does, it's over. Quick and clean. Thomas exhaled. He didn't say yes, but he didn't say no. I stayed frozen in bed for what felt like an hour after they left the kitchen. Only when I was sure they had gone to bed did I sit up and place both feet on the floor. The rain had stopped. All I could hear was the tick of the hallway clock. I opened my drawer and pulled out an old necklace box. Inside was a silver locket. My late husband gave it to me 20 years ago. He had a voice recorder installed in it as a joke, he always said. If I die first, record the gossip for me. Tonight, he got his wish. I clicked the hidden button and replayed the recording. Every word, every syllable. I copied the file to my old laptop, saved it twice. My hands shook as I closed the lid. I sat in silence, staring into the dark. I know everyone has their reasons for hating others, but I never expected that my children could be so cruel and hateful towards me. What did I do wrong? I'm just a normal mother. Is everything I do wrong? God, please answer me. But God was quiet. Maybe because he already gave me ears to hear, and now he was waiting to see if I had the will to fight. The next morning, Clarissa brought me tea. Chamomile with honey. My favorite. Or at least, it used to be. Sleep well, Mom? She asked, her voice warm, fake, polished. Better, I said, smiling. Thank you, dear. She smiled back. She had perfect teeth, like a wolf wearing pearls. I waited until she left the room, then poured the tea into the ficus plant in the corner. I didn't die that day, or the next, but something inside me did. The belief that family protects you, that blood is thicker than betrayal. That illusion was gone, and what replaced it was something colder, smarter, patient. Clarissa wanted me to die quietly, so I decided to live loudly, in silence. 2 weeks after that night, the night I heard my own son and his wife whisper about my death like it was a spreadsheet item, I went in for a checkup. The kind of appointment I used to go to alone, but now Clarissa insisted on driving me. For your safety, she said, with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. She didn't come inside, of course, just dropped me at the door and reminded me to mention any new symptoms, like she was taking her car to a mechanic. I sat in the sterile white room, the air so cold it bit through my sleeves, and waited. The nurse was kind. She asked about my sleep, my appetite, my energy levels. I told her what I could. Some of it was true, some of it I hadn't even told myself yet. Then the doctor came in with my chart. He didn't look up right away. I knew what that meant. The cancer's returned, he said finally. We caught it early, but it's aggressive. We'll need to start treatment soon if you want to fight this. That word, if, hung in the room like smoke. I nodded, quietly. I didn't cry. I didn't ask how long. I'd had cancer before. I knew the dance. I also knew this time It wouldn't be just me against the disease. It would be me against the people under my roof. When I got back in the car, Clarissa was humming along to the radio. Country music, of all things. She didn't ask about the diagnosis, just looked at me in the rearview mirror and said, "You hungry?" "No," I whispered. "Good," she said. "I'm making soup tonight." When we got home, I lingered in the doorway for a moment. I stared at the family photos on the wall. My wedding day, Thomas as a baby. Christmas 3 years ago, the last one where everyone pretended to care. Clarissa moved past me, pulling off her gloves. "Go rest," she said. "You look tired." Later that evening, I sat at the kitchen table, hands trembling, and whispered, "Clarissa." She turned, stirring her pot on the stove. "The cancer. It's back." She paused, just for a second, her back to me. I kept going, my voice softer than a breath. "Would you help me? Just help me get treatment. I don't have anyone else." She turned slowly, ladle still in her hand. Her lips curled into a smile, not warm, not cruel, controlled. "If you've got cancer," she said, walking toward me, "maybe it's time to lie down with the worms." I blinked. I thought I'd misheard, but she leaned in close, too close, and said it again, slower. "Crawl down into the grave with the maggots." I froze. The soup bubbled behind her like something alive. She pulled a chair out beside me and sat, legs crossed, ladle resting in her lap. "You gave your life to this family. You sacrificed, you worked, you lived frugally. And for what? For us, right?" I didn't answer. Couldn't. She nodded to herself. "Well, congratulations. You made it. Everything's in place, your savings, your insurance, your retirement account, all properly transferred. Your value, Mom, is complete." "Clarissa," I whispered. She held up a hand. "No, just listen." Her voice was calm, like she was reading a bedtime story. "You think we're monsters, but we're just practical. You're not an investment anymore. You're a conclusion, and I am not spending $80,000, 0 cents on chemo for a dying woman who can't walk up the stairs." Tears burned my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. "And you know what?" she added with a small, amused tilt of her head. "You already signed the DNR paperwork last year, remember? That little stack of routine documents I had you go through when your arthritis was bad?" My heart twisted. She stood, smoothed her blouse, and went back to the stove. "You don't need to worry about a thing, Mom. Just eat, sleep, and don't make it dramatic. No one likes a long goodbye." I sat at the table long after she left the kitchen, my hands folded, my mouth dry. I stared at the soup, smelled the rosemary and garlic, remembered how I used to make it for Thomas when he was sick. Now it was being made for me, by a woman who hoped it would be my last meal. I went to my room and shut the door. I didn't pray that night. I planned. And as I lay in bed, eyes wide open in the dark, I began to replay every moment from the last 2 years. I remembered the day Clarissa insisted I sign a stack of routine forms. She smiled sweetly while I scribbled my name without reading. One was a power of attorney, another quietly listed her as the beneficiary on my insurance. I never questioned it, just another errand. But now I knew. She had been setting the table for my disappearance long before the cancer came back. The push for a joint account, the laughing comment last Christmas. "You're lucky we keep you around. You're like a walking inheritance." I laughed too. Now I understood what she meant. The next morning, Clarissa was all smiles again, brought me coffee in bed, light roast, just the way I like it. She even tucked a napkin into my collar and called me Queen Eleanor. "Big day," she chirped, "the first day of the rest of your rest." I didn't touch the coffee, just smiled, because I knew they weren't waiting for cancer to kill me. They were speeding it up. A week after Clarissa told me I was worth more dead than alive, she changed. Not her heart, her behavior. Suddenly she became sweet, attentive, helpful, like she had remembered she was playing a part in a play and stepped back into character. She started making me breakfast. Warm, seasoned, balanced. "Soft foods for your digestion," she'd say with a smile. "Soups, smoothies, porridge with honey." She brought me coffee, not too hot, tea with lemon at exactly 3:00 p.m., nightly milk with nutmeg for sleep. She began calling me Mom again. I knew the act too well. I used to play the same one when I was married to a man who beat me with silence and control. I knew what poison looked like when it wore pearls, and still, I pretended not to notice. "Thank you, sweetheart," I'd whisper, sipping just enough to avoid suspicion, pouring the rest into the orchid pot when she left the room. But even that wasn't enough. Within days, my body turned against me. I was dizzy, my chest thudded in strange rhythms. My hands trembled constantly. I couldn't keep food down, my bowels emptied without warning. At one point I fainted while folding laundry. I woke up on the floor with Clarissa staring down at me. "Oh, Mom," she said, kneeling beside me with a damp cloth. "It's the stress. You just need to rest." That night I called my doctor. He ran tests the next day. "There's something odd in your results," he said, frowning. "You're dehydrated, showing signs of electrolyte imbalance, and your heart is under unusual strain. You haven't changed your medications?" "No," I said. "Nothing new from the pharmacy." He looked unconvinced. "It may be a food or supplement interaction, or something in the home environment." "Could it be deliberate?" I asked, almost too quietly. His eyes flickered. "Do you feel safe where you live, Mrs. Hathaway?" I didn't answer. Instead, I went home and called Denise, my old neighbor's daughter, who now worked as a pharmacy tech. I asked her if she could analyze a few items for me. No questions asked, just yes or no. She said yes. The next morning, Clarissa made me chamomile tea. She sprinkled cinnamon on top, like I used to for Thomas when he had a cold. I poured it into a sterile plastic vial when she left and labeled it Tuesday tea, 8 a.m. That evening, I hid the soup she brought me. Lentils and leeks. I sealed it too. Tuesday soup, 6 p.m. By the end of the week, I had 6 samples. Tea, soup, milk, yogurt parfait, smoothie, and an almond cookie. I had eaten none of them. On Saturday morning, I handed the bag of samples to Denise's husband in the church parking lot, tucked inside a box of old hymnals. He nodded once and left without a word. 3 days later, Denise called me. "Eleanor," she said, "I don't know who's cooking for you, but stop eating it." "What did you find?" "High doses of furosemide in 3 of the samples. That's a loop diuretic. It can cause dehydration, heart failure, confusion, and even death if used improperly. There's also zolpidem in the milk. That's a strong sedative. Prescription only." I closed my eyes. "She's trying to kill me slowly," I whispered. Denise didn't reply. She didn't have to. That night, I pulled out the 2 small security gadgets Thomas had given me last Christmas as a joke. One was a camera built into a fake phone charger, the other a pair of smart glasses with a hidden lens. "You'll never use these," he'd laughed. He was right about one thing. Until now, I placed the charger camera in the kitchen outlet, angled toward the prep counter. I wore the glasses each time I sat at the table, smiling like I didn't know I was being poisoned. And then, I caught her. It wasn't dramatic, just quiet cruelty in action. Clarissa humming while she crushed a white pill between 2 spoons, pouring it into tea, stirring slowly, rinsing the spoon exactly 6 seconds, drying it with the same towel she used to wipe the sink, humming again. No hesitation, no second thoughts, like it was just another chore. The footage on my phone was crystal clear. I recorded 4 separate days. Different pills, same ritual, same soft smile. On the 4th day, she even said under her breath, "Almost there, you old bitch." I didn't flinch. I smiled. She thought she was playing me like a fiddle, but I was the one writing the final note. Not all women hurt each other. Some simply remember. There was one woman, one light in all this ugliness who had no reason to help me. No obligation, no bloodline, just kindness. Her name was Lila. Lila was the ex-wife of Clarissa's older brother Henry, the one everyone in their family pretended never existed once they split. That barren mule, Clarissa once called her, not knowing I was standing nearby. 10 years of marriage and not even a miscarriage. Just a useless hole. I said nothing back then, just tucked it away. Another cruel sentence from a woman who wore cruelty like perfume, subtle, but lingering. But I remembered, because Lila was the only person who ever came to see me after my first chemo. Not Thomas, not Clarissa, not a single friend from the church social. Just her. She showed up with a Tupperware of homemade chicken congee, said it was an old family recipe. Sat at my bedside in the hospital and brushed my hair out of my face like I was her own mother. We barely knew each other, but that didn't matter. I asked her why she came. "You remind me of someone," she said. "Who?" "Myself. The version of me no one wanted anymore." After that, she came by every 2 weeks, always brought food. Never stayed too long, just enough to let me know I wasn't forgotten. Clarissa hated it. One day I heard her snap in the hallway. "Why are you even here, Lila? You don't belong to this family anymore. You can't have kids. You've got no roots here. Go back to your sad little life and stay out of mine." I thought Lila would cry, but she smiled. "I don't need to have a child to be human. But you, I hope you never become a mother. You'd rot everything you touch." Clarissa slammed the door. That night I cried, not for myself, but for Lila. For the way the world spits out women who can't produce what it wants. Babies, profit, silence. And I thought, she was thrown out for not giving life. And me, I'm being thrown out for living too long. Clarissa didn't just want me gone, she wanted me erased. But Lila, she remembered me. Even now, 2 years after that hospital visit, she still sent postcards. Once every few months, no return address. Just soft little messages in curling blue ink. "Thinking of you, E. Hope you're still stubborn. Alive is better than pretty." They meant more than anyone knew. When I started to piece together my escape, my revenge, my justice, Lila came to mind. Not because I wanted to involve her, I never wanted to drag her into this storm, but because I remembered something she once told me. "If you ever need a friend, I'm not hard to find. I just don't wait around for invitations anymore." So I reached out. Carefully, quietly. I mailed a single letter. No details, just a question. "Do you still believe people like us can win?" 3 weeks later, a package came. Inside was a burner phone, a USB drive, and a note. "Yes, let me help." I held that little phone like it was a lifeline. And maybe it was, because no matter how carefully I planned, no matter how many videos I recorded or samples I collected, there was always the risk that no one would believe me. But with Lila, I had someone who'd already believed me when I had nothing to offer. Someone who saw the slow death that women like us face every day, not from disease but from invisibility. And suddenly, I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was fighting. You learn a lot when you pretend to be dumb. Clarissa liked to think she was the smartest one in the room. That was her mistake. Her arrogance made her reckless, so I gave her the performance of a lifetime. I started forgetting things, little things at first. Names, the date, what I had for breakfast. She lapped it up like cream. "Oh, Mom's slipping," she told Thomas one morning, loud enough for me to hear through the vent. "Soon we won't need hospice, just a mattress cover and a shovel." She laughed. I smiled in my room. Every day she thought I was getting closer to the edge. I was getting sharper, more precise. I used the burner phone Lila gave me to record hours of new audio. Clarissa on the phone saying, "Increase her meds, just one night and we'll be free." Another time whispering to Thomas, "Do you know how long it takes for a body to stop twitching after the heart goes?" But it wasn't enough to catch them. I needed to beat them. And that meant taking back what they were trying to steal. So I called my old lawyer, Saul. He hadn't seen me in 5 years, thought I was dead. "You're not dying, are you?" he asked over the phone. "Not before I raise some hell," I said. He chuckled. "Now that's the Eleanor I remember." We met at his office after hours. I wore a shawl and sunglasses, like I was sneaking into a secret war room. "Tell me everything," he said. I did. Every word, every whisper, every pill, every recording. And when I was done, I placed a small black box on his desk. "What's this?" "My final play," I said. "A video will." We filmed it that night. No scripts, no edits. Just me, clear-eyed, deliberate, calm. I sat in front of the camera and said, "My name is Eleanor Ruth Hathaway. I am of sound mind and body. I am making this will of my own free will with no pressure or coercion. Everything I own, every cent of it, my house, my stocks, my savings, my retirement, my late husband's shares, $13,200,000, 0 cents in total. I leave to one person